Hello, thanks for joining us, everybody, on this February 25th, 2008 edition of MassapequaNews.com. I'm here with Christine Sohmer, the editor of MassapequaNews.com, and I'd like to thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to interview you.
You're very welcome, Will.
Okay, so I was perusing your memoirs on the website, MassapequaNews.com, and it was entitled Single File, Please.
Yes.
What was the significance of this title?
The relevance of the title of my column is that I've been a single parent for the last 8 years. So it's like I'm getting through my life not holding a partner's hand, but in a single file.
Single file. Right. And you grew up on Long Island, correct?
Yes.
What part of Long Island did you grow up in?
The southernmost westerly point before you hit Queens, Valley Stream.
Valley Stream. So, what was your upbringing like generally? What was your parents like? You know, your family situation, school situation, all that.
My dad was a narcotics detective and is now retired.
Very
My
cool.
mom was a stay-at-home caregiver, and I came from a working class background. My brother and sisters were my friends growing up. My cousins were an extension of my family.
Right.
So a regular middle-class background.
Nuclear family. See where you're coming from.
Yes.
When I was very young, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to be a professional sports athlete, which is what I originally wanted to do. You know, young kid dreams of growing up and winning the World Series with the Yankees. So I decided that if I wasn't going to be able to actually win the World Series, that I wanted to be able to cover it. I wanted to be the guy that was doing the powerful interview after the game with the tearful athlete and all that. And that kind of led to a series of epiphanies like, 96, 98 when the Yankees won the World Series, and when Dan Marino retired, because I'm a big Dolphins fan, the guy interviewing him. That kind of made me realize that I wanted to get into sports journalism, or just journalism on the whole.
Yes.
How did you get into the field of journalism, and did you reach any epiphanies like this over the course of your life?
When I was a kid, the only time I can remember dreaming was playing Monopoly.
Okay.
I didn't want to grow up and marry a Prince Charming and live in a castle. I wanted to grow up and invest in real estate in Monopoly. That was my dream.
Oh, that's awesome. I see where you're coming from there.
But as far as writing goes, I didn't have any tremendous epiphanies that were the catalyst to get me to write.
Right.
I put in my time working at law firms, handling boring research for briefs for attorneys, doing minimal writing or even editing somebody else's work. I put in my time and worked my way up.
Right, worked your way up.
Yes.
And where did you go to college?
I did my undergrad at Adelphi.
Adelphi.
I got my bachelor's degree in business management and communications.
Right. At least in my experience, college has seemed to be a very influential time in your life. You have a lot of different forces kind of pulling you in different directions, telling you to do one thing or another. What were some of your influential figures in your life that kind of pushed you to become what you are today?
Not just during college, but throughout my whole entire life, I would say the females in my world.
Right.
My grandmother is now 88. She is the icon of my family. My aunt is in... Yeah, absolutely. My aunt who's in her 60s, my mother who's in her 60s. They are all very powerful, strong women that helped shape who I am even today. They wanted me to do it one better. You know, don't just get married and have kids. Don't just invest in real estate. Don't just, own your own business. Do more, do more, do more.
Yeah, I can see that. I get that from my parents as well. They kind of want their offspring to, monetarily anyway, do a little bit better.
It's exhausting.
I can see. I have a few friends that are now graduating from fairly highly esteemed universities like St. John's, and the perception that I'm getting for them is really that journalism is a very difficult field to break into, especially in this part of the country, especially in the Northeast.
Only the fittest will survive.
Right, that's really definitely what the message that I'm getting. So what was your first job in journalism out of college, and how did you get it?
I didn't think that any job was too small. There was nothing that I was above doing. If I had to work at law firms and write briefs and edit paralegals' work and handle boring research, I did it. So I didn't really start in journalism. I started working at law firms, doing a lot of the grunt work. So I would recommend that anyone looking to break into journalism write every day.
Right.
Don't shy away from the jobs that you think you're not interested in. Do anything. Get your writing read.
put yourself out there.
Absolutely. If you keep if you keep a journal, write in it every day. If you if you can write letters to editors at every single medium, please do so.
Right. It really helps. Just writing in every stage of the game.
Write thank you letters. Write opinion pieces. Just write every day.
And stay in school, kids. All that good stuff. And over the course of the years, the media has adapted to its technological surroundings. Whether it was in the beginning the town criers and Paul Revere, and then going to newspapers and magazines, and now the internet.
Yes.
How do you see MassapequaNews.com proliferating over the internet in the foreseeable future?
Always staying the industry leader. Always staying one step ahead of the competition. Always doing things differently. Listening to our critics. Keeping expenses down, hiring staff that's heart and soul. I mean, everyone that works at MassapequaNews.com has a vested interest in what they're doing.
Top to bottom passionate.
It's their passion.
Speaking of the competition, today I learned that a local paper, Long Island Shopping and Dining, might be going out of business. If this is the case, how does that directly affect MassapequaNews.com, being that it is one of your competitors?
Well, Long Island Shopping and Dining, if it is in fact true that they are going out of business, they were fighting for that same tiny sliver of that piece of pie that businesses set aside for advertising.
Right.
So if it is in fact true that they are going out of business, then that frees up
all that money.
Well, not necessarily all that money, but all of the interest. I mean, if you own your own business and you spend $2,000 a year advertising, now you have one less option. So if it is in fact true that they've gone out of business, we'd like to pick up where they left off so that businesses aren't losing sending their message out, getting their sales into the homes of people, spreading the word. We'd like to make sure they don't miss a beat. Right,
and I can see how advertising could be crucial for a website like MassapequaNews.com.
Yes.
That's how they rely on making your money, and not only that, but like I said, like you said, pushing the image of the local businesses, which is important for the town's image. I've been speaking to a few friends of mine, peers, and family members over the past few days to kind of get an idea as to what they thought about MassapequaNews.com and the website. So if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions from the newsreaders themselves.
Okay. Well, they thought that it totally rocked, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the first thing that they said. Actually, was the first thing that came out of their mouths. So anyway, from my brother actually plays on the football on the Massapequa Mustangs, and he plays baseball in Massapequa. And he was wondering if there was a possibility of there being like a local sports team coverage, like somebody writing about that on the website.
Funny you should mention that. While we're shooting in advance of February 28th, one of our photojournalists is covering the Mustangs awards dinner at Stuart Thomas Manor.
Oh yeah?
We got a call from Kurt Rook, the Mustang president. We've shied away from covering actual football games because we don't want to step on the toes of the school district.
Right.
There's really only, we're ahead of our time in that they haven't even set up any guidelines for publication on the web.
Right.
So as long as we work in tandem with the school district and the parents, yes, we'd absolutely love to do sports writing, sports casting, especially at this local level.
Well, especially for the younger kids, I guess it would all have to be like positive press. Really, you wouldn't want to go insulting the younger kids.
Yeah, we try to save the insults for the older kids.
Right, that's how they can handle it. How about a section dedicated to Massapequa nightlife, like the local bars or anything like that? What they would be having in terms of parties and deals, advertising, anything like that?
We have on our party planning page party ideas, and we have on our dining and catering page dining ideas. But as far as promoting anything having to do with drinking and driving, I'm going to say no.
Right, you got to stay away from that.
Yes.
Understandable. And how about coverage of local sporting events such as like Jets and Giants games, Yankees, Mets games, and also there's an upcoming NFL draft in April, which is now huge that they have in Madison Square Garden.
That's just outside of our geographic coverage, but it's not something I would rule out because
it does draw the interest of the local population, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every single Massapequan is either a Jet fan or a Giant fan, a Yankee fan or a Met fan. Right. So I would definitely keep the lines of communication open for something of that caliber.
It's a matter of finding an objective and knowledgeable sports writer, I suppose.
Absolutely. So if you know of anyone...
Okay. I'll be on the lookout. And again, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. It was a pleasure.
You're very welcome, Will.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Good.